Okay guys, today we have a pretty significant PlayStation 5 leak that we're going to be taking some time to go over here. Apparently a new photo has surfaced online that reveals two PlayStation 5 dev kits as well as the Dualshock 5, and get this, apparently if you inspect this photo close enough, there's even evidence of that Demon Souls remake that is apparently being worked on by Bluepoint Games. So let's go over this. Says a freshly leaked image of the PlayStation 5 has given us our first look at the Dualshock 5 controller, alongside evidence of the rumored Demon Souls remake that's said to be in the works at Bluepoint Games. As shared by prominent internet news hound All Games Delta on Twitter, the photo reportedly comes from an anonymous developer and shows the next-gen console's dev kit, the same one, which Sony has confirmed is genuine, in all its V-shaped glory. But the juiciest details of this latest leak can be discovered only when it's viewed up close. Take a look at the controller sitting on the top right console. That's almost certainly the DualShock 5, the next-gen PS5 controller that has already been half revealed thanks to leaked Sony patents that emerged online earlier this month. As those patents demonstrated, not much has changed for the DualShock model in its transition to next-gen, but the new and improved device reportedly features a built-in microphone in lieu of the DualShock 4's light bar. Additionally, some have suggested that a closer inspection at the code displayed on the front of the dev kits reportedly reveals the line Demon Souls Remake Prototype in hazy text. Though I can't seem to be able to make it out for myself, this seems to confirm previous rumors that Bluepoint Games, the studio behind the Shadow of the Colossus PS4 remake, is indeed working on a next-gen reimagining of From Software's beloved 2009 RPG. Bluepoint itself has already confirmed that its next title is a PS5 launch game exclusive in the same article that revealed the upcoming hardware itself is launching sometime in holiday 2020, setting it toe-to-toe with Microsoft's own Project Scarlet in the same season. So this article it comes from Games Radar, and they said that they will be sure to update it if they get any more information. But yeah, this is pretty significant. Now, obviously, it's very interesting to see the PlayStation 5 dev kits in this type of quality, this type of detail. Anything we've seen up until this point, I don't think it's really been to this quality level. And then looking at that DualShock 5, it definitely has to be the DualShock 5 because it does not look like a DualShock 4. It looks very similar to one, but you can tell even with the angle it's at by looking at it, it just has this bulkier look to it, and the triggers do look a little bit different. But man, this is I have to say the most interesting part of this leak has to be about the Demon Souls remake. Now, I'm looking at this photo myself, and I'm zooming in as much as I can here, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I can't make out any of that text that's running on the dev kit. I couldn't tell you what that says. But apparently there are people saying that if you look close enough, it says Demon Souls Remake Prototype. Now, maybe people are just making that up, because if I had to tell you what this said, I can't even make anything out. It just looks blurry to me. So I don't know. You know, maybe this is a developer from Bluepoint Games actually leaking this out. Maybe this is a leak that has been done purposely by Sony. We know that that is something that these companies do like to do from time to time. They like to, quote, leak things out to kind of get people excited, because nothing gets people more excited than finding out information that you're not supposed to know yet. But a lot of this is kind of stuff we have already known about to some extent, so I can't imagine Sony's too upset about this. You know, everybody's been made aware of the fact that these V-shaped dev kits are the real thing. Sony is aware that everybody knows this is the real thing, and I doubt they're going to get upset at that leaking out. But again, these are some pretty high-quality images, and we do have to understand, and I have to say this every time we talk about this, what you're seeing in these photos, the V-shaped console, it's not going to look like this in its final design. It's going to change dramatically. Now, obviously, the most prominent aspect of this dev kit, as we've talked about many times, is that V-shape. So the big question is Sony going to keep that design philosophy in the final, design that we end up seeing when it's revealed. Is it going to be a V-shaped console? It doesn't look like the worst thing in the world, especially when you look at these high-quality images. They really don't look that bad. I mean, they're pretty bulky. There's a lot of ventilation, obviously, and that's going to be a key thing with the PlayStation 5, so it wouldn't surprise me if the overall design philosophy of this ends up staying the same. The DualShock 5, as I've said before, I am excited for it. It's going to be interesting to see when Sony decides to reveal the DualShock 5, if they're going to do it before they actually show off the console itself, similar to what they did with the PS4. I doubt they will because of how similar it's going to end up being to the DualShock 4 itself, so they might not need to do that. They can just reveal both at the same time. But you know, something else I can't help but think when talking about this. You guys know, anybody who's been following this channel for a little while now, we've been seemingly talking about PlayStation 5 almost weekly for the past couple of months because it seems like every week there's something new or interesting worth talking about. And I can't help but notice that on Xbox's side, there's pretty much been nothing in terms of like leaks and stuff like that, right? Like we haven't seen, or we have no idea what the dev kits for Project Scarlet look like. We just haven't really heard or seen too much about it. To whereas when you look at the PlayStation 5, it just seems like there's always stuff going on. And this maybe lends credence to the idea that maybe Sony is kind of orchestrating this behind the scenes a little bit, and they're trying to this is their way of low-key trying to keep the conversation flowing, which I will say this, if that is in fact the case here, they're doing a very good job at it. Now, it's hard to say, we won't know for sure, but I mean, this is a very high quality image here, and it reveals a lot. And so what I'm most interested in here is if this in fact does reveal the Demon Souls remake. I'm looking at it once more here. I'm zooming in, and it's I can't tell. I'm trying so hard to make out some of this text, and I'm just not seeing it. But maybe, I don't know, maybe it is though. It's really hard to tell, guys. I'm gonna be interested if any of you guys can make this out. But yeah, man, the PlayStation 5 is right around the corner, guys. Next gen is almost here. I get excited talking about this stuff because, you know, something that we need to be aware of, and I think a lot of people are aware of this, but for those who maybe aren't, for those who are looking forward to next generation, for those who maybe think things have been a little bit too quiet, or, you know, there's kind of a lull period, 2020 is going to be a massive year for console gaming. It's going to be massive between Sony and the PlayStation 5 and Microsoft and Project Scarlet. But not just that, you also have to keep in mind how many third-party developers have yet to announce and reveal their games, because we know that most games that are in development at this point that are not about to be finished, like Cyberpunk 2077 and Final Fantasy VII Remake, The Last of Us Part 2, most games that are still, you know, in the early stages of their development cycle or the mid stage of their development cycle, they're going to be next-gen games. And that's why we haven't really seen too many games revealed recently. Now, there's talk that, and I know that this is deviating a little bit, but it kind of does go hand in hand, because the big question is, with the Game Awards coming up, you know, are there going to be a lot of game announcements? There's a lot of rumors floating around that we're going to get the Resident Evil 3 remake announcement, which sounds amazing. There's rumors saying that we're going to get that next Batman game announced, as well as some other stuff on top of that. And the big question is, are these going to be next-gen titles? And this is what people are going to be looking for. It does seem somewhat plausible and somewhat likely that starting with the Game Awards, any games that are announced at that time could very well end up being PlayStation 5 titles. Now, will Sony announce anything? We know that their award show is coming just a couple days now on December 3rd. There's rumors that there's going to be some announcements there. In fact, there's actually something else I do want to take time to talk about in another video that has to do with, apparently we can expect some new PlayStation 5 information very, very soon. In fact, possibly on that same day, December 3rd. We know it's going to be the 25th anniversary of PlayStation. Sony's going to make a big deal out of that. But there's just a lot of things happening right now, guys. And you can start to get this feeling that going into 2020, it's going to be massive. There's going to be a blowout of news and information and announcements in regards to the next-gen consoles as well as next-gen games, and it's all very exciting. So at this point, I want to ask you guys to leave your thoughts down below. What do you think about this image? What do you think about these dev kits and the way they look? What do you think about finally seeing what seems to be the Dualshock 5? Are you seeing any major differences there? Are you liking what you're seeing? And do you believe that if you look close enough at this image, it does in fact reveal that there is currently a Demon Souls remake running on these PlayStation 5 dev kits? To me, it makes a lot of sense. Again, we do have to understand that Bluepoint Games was allowed to reveal during the same time that Sony announced the name and release date of the PlayStation 5 that they are in fact working on what will undoubtedly be a launch title PlayStation 5 game, and all signs are pointing to Demon Souls being that game, a Demon Souls remake. So let me know your thoughts down below. I'm going to be really interested to see what you guys have to say. Leave the video a like if you did enjoy it, or you found it informative, or you're just excited to hear more about the PlayStation 5 and its games. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.